Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great time and a great day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. It is Friday evening in my little corner of space-time, and so what Friday evening is complete without wine and CD singles? I love CD singles. I really miss CD singles. So I thought I would do a video about the joy of CD singles. I used to have a huge collection of CD singles, but of course I sold them in my foolish 30s, but I still have a few left. So I thought I'd show you my collection. Talk about CD singles. Do you like CD singles? Do you miss them? I really do. There was something so exciting about CD singles, going into the record store and seeing them all out on display. They were brilliant, not just because if your favourite band had a new album out, you always knew you had new songs to look forward to with the B-sides to the new singles. But also, if there was a song, maybe it wasn't a band you were going to buy everything by, but they had one song you really, really loved, you could go out and you could get that CD single and you could own a little bit of that song that you loved. I know you can listen to it on Spotify and download it on iTunes now, but there's just something so lovely about having the little CD single with that one song that you love most. I started thinking about CD singles. I actually just ordered one to replace one I used to own from eBay, and it arrived in the mail today, so I thought I'll do this video right now. And what got me thinking about this particular song was typing up my next few gigs for my blog. If you're new to me, new to this channel, I have a blog at scruffystorms.com in which I write about all the gigs I've ever been to in my life. I'm up to October 1997 so far. I also write about the gigs I'm going to in the modern day. So there's 2018 gigs and there's 90s gigs in there at the moment. They will join at some point. But I was typing up my gig, my diary entry for Curve, who I saw in November 1997, and I wrote in there about how Curve were really the first, they were like my introduction to indie in 1991, and they were the first band that I was just obsessed with David Bowie at that time, and I thought new music would never be as good as David Bowie was in the 70s. Curve were the first band that made me realise that music in the 90s, new music could be just as brilliant as music, Bowie's music that I've been listening to from the 70s. So reading about that in that gig report made me remember that first single by Curve that I bought, which was the song Coast is Clear, and it's on an EP called Frozen, and I don't have that EP anymore, and it's not on Spotify, it's not anywhere, it's probably in the back of a hard drive somewhere. I've got those songs, but I wanted to have the CD again, so I ordered that EP from eBay. It was only £2.50 for the CD plus postage, and here it is, the beautiful Frozen EP by Curve, and this is a bloody amazing EP. All those 4 songs on it are just brilliant. It is, the Curve sort of were the beginning of what got called shoegazing, or they were one of the early bands of what got called shoegazing, which is like sort of heavy, dreamy guitars. Most shoegazing bands had more sort of dreamy vocals. Curve had more kind of hard-hitting lyrics, and they had a strong dance element as well, which I really, really loved. I loved the mix of guitars and dance music, which was becoming quite popular in the early 90s. So I've been listening to this EP today. It is bloody amazing. There's sounds on here. The guitar sound at the beginning of Coast is Clear is like nothing else on earth. If you haven't heard it, go and watch the video. Maybe I'll link it down below. Because it is a flippin' amazing song, and they're sort of a little bit forgotten about because they split up. And they're not really in music now, but they were one of the great bands of the early 90s. So what I thought I'd do today is go through all the CD singles that I own. There's not all that many of them now, alas, because I sold them in my foolish 30s. And yeah, just chat about CD singles. So handily, I've got all my CD singles in alphabetical order, and Curve come first because I don't have any A's or B's. My next are D's, and they are these 5. CD singles from the Delays. So here is Long Time Coming. This is Valentine. This is Lost in a Melody and Wanderlust. I think this is a 2 CD set because that is also Lost in a Melody and Wanderlust. And this is a song that's so close to my heart, Nearer Than Heaven. This is the song that made me a fan of the Delays. The Delays were the only band in the zeros, or the noughties as some people call them, that really caught my attention. I think if I were 5 years younger, they would have been my last kind of lightning bolt new favourite band. But as it was, I really did love them, and I saw them live I think 3 times. Would love to see them live again. Unfortunately, the lead singer, Greg Gilbert, who is an amazing singer and just seems to be an amazing person generally, he announced on social media a couple of years ago that he'd been diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer, and he's been undergoing treatment for that since then, which he's been very open about going through on social media and talking about what's happening. Yeah, it's just an awful thing, and I was really utterly distressed when I found out, you know, that he was so ill. But he still seems to be going strong. He's not really singing with the band, although occasionally on social media he posts a clip of him singing, which is to die for. He has the most amazing voice, just totally unique, ragged angel of a singer that he is. But he's also a brilliant visual artist in terms of drawing. He draws these amazing biro pictures, which he also posts on social media. He's well worth following, Greg Gilbert. And when that news came out, I was really happy to find that I still had kept all these CD singles, because I kept so little from my music collection. And I think the reason I kept these is because most of them are actually DVD singles, and they have songs on them that you can't, or I couldn't extract to my computer, so I had to keep the singles to keep hold of those songs. So I'm really glad I kept those. And I mean, the Delays are a wonderful band. I would kill to see them live again, but more importantly that Greg Gilbert looks after his health, because that goes above everything, obviously. But yeah, some fabulous tunes there. Next up, I have actual CD singles that came out in the past 2 years. Can you believe it? They are EPs. They're the first 2 EPs by Paul Draper, EP1, EP2, and this was his comeback as a solo artist after Manson split up in 2003. Their final album came out in 2004. Nothing for years and years and decades and centuries, and finally we got these EPs, which are wonderful, and it is still, you know, a dream come true to have Paul Draper back as a solo artist and playing gigs. And so of course I'm buying his EPs, which are, you know, EPs are CD singles, so, you know, that's also thrilling that he's bringing us, you know, CD singles in the 21st century. Who would have thought? Next up, again, I'm not entirely sure why I kept this one. It's Einstürzende Neubauten, and this is the Interim EP. So the song is called Die Interims Liebenden, which means the interim lovers. And this is the song that made me a fan. A lot of these CD singles that I've kept are the songs that made me a fan of a particular band, and this is no exception. This is beautiful. It's a great song, and this is beautiful sort of package. It's got a nice little picture of the band there, and then it's got an actual whole sort of booklet with lyrics and things, which you don't usually get in CD singles. So I think that's probably why I kept this one. Maybe also because it's a little bit beat up and I thought I couldn't sell it. It has a song that I quite like that's not on the album, but yeah, so I kept that one. I'm glad for all of the ones I kept, because, you know, I got rid of too many. I got rid of all of, you know, all my Manics ones, almost all my Manics ones, all my Suede ones, almost all my Manson, no, all my Manson ones, because I've had to rebuy some of them. A quick wine break there. Next up, what have we got? Okay, so I've got my Manic Street Preachers ones that I did keep, and I've got 4. So first up I have, this I think is a Japanese import of You Love Us. And I thought I had sold all my Japanese imports. When I was thinking about doing this video and looking through my collection, I was really surprised to see that I still had this. And this has got on it You Love Us Edit, You Love Us Full, You Love Us Heavenly, and It's So Easy Live. So not much variety in this. I certainly didn't keep it for the bonus tracks, but you have this lovely bit of graffiti, Molotov cocktails of fantastic destruction, peak early Manics. But the next one is, I think, one of my most beloved possessions in terms of CDs. It is From Despair to Where, the song that made me a Manics fan in October 1993. It's almost 25 years since I became a Manics fan, and I'd certainly heard of them for a couple of years, but it wasn't until this song that they really grabbed my heart and soul, and my heart and soul have belonged to them ever since then, well, with some blips through the way. Yeah, so this is just such a precious thing to me. I would never have sold as I sold almost all my other Manic singles, but not this one, because it just reminds me. And it's a really nice thing, because I'm rebuying a lot of the CDs that I used to have, but I really feel a bit of regret that I don't have the original copies, you know, the ones that I listened to over and over when I was 18, like I did with this one. So I'm really glad that I still have this. The next Manics one I have, and again, I don't know why I kept this one over other ones, but it is Masses Against the Classes, which was their #1 single in 2000. I think this was the first new #1 of the millennium, maybe. This was an exciting single. It was the Manics kind of getting back to their more punky political roots after the meandering, sprawling This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary as I record this. I love this song, I love this single, but I'm not sure why I kept this over other Manic singles. But, you know, who knows? Who can fathom the mind of a 30-something? I was not in my right mind for that decade. My last Manic single I still own is actually a kind of limited edition EP, which was given out. I have a feeling it was the Hammersmith Apollo gigs I went to in 2004 where they gave this out, God Save the Manics, with Nicky Wire doing his best Sid Vicious there. I think I probably just kept this because it was, you know, a limited edition, it's quite rare. Although I probably did try and sell it on eBay at one point, but obviously it never sold, so I still got that one, so that's good. Next up, the other boys that I've sold my heart and soul to. Keep selling my heart and soul to boys who don't deserve it probably, but anyway, Manson, my boys. Again, I sold my entire Manson CD collection. Why? What was I thinking? Anyway, so I'm slowly rebuying them. As you can see, I've only got 2. This is 3 EP, which is Draper, Vicar, and this was kind of important this was the first one I rebought back from eBay, and this one was important because Draper, Vicar is the first Manson song I ever heard, so that's kind of where it all began. And also the B-sides to, there's 2 CDs in here. One of the B-sides is No One Knows This, which is one of my all-time favourite songs, and it's also where I get Scruffy from. Scruffy is a character in that song. I decided to call myself Scruffy. It seemed to fit. So this is just like a thing of joy forever. And then the other one I have rebought so far is Negative. I think this is CD1 of Negative, which came out in 1998, and this is 10 EP. I love Negative. I love every single song. The 3 songs on this, like the Curve EP, this is just an EP with 3 like utterly classic, amazing, brilliant songs. Negative, When the Wind Blows, and King of Beauty. And I have such a strong memory of when I originally bought this in 1998, and just sitting in my little tiny room. I was still in my tiny room in Chelsea then, and listening to these 3 songs, and just my mind boggling at how they kept surpassing themselves with song after song after song. I keep thinking, no, this is the best song ever, and this is the best song ever, and they just kept releasing better songs. So yeah, so this was one that was sort of kind of really important to me to rebuy. And where would my CD single collection be without Mark Owen? Mark Owen is my other favourite male solo singer after Paul Draper. He's just got an incredible voice. I bloody love him in every way possible. This is Alone Without You. I've got both CDs of this. Hang on, where's the other one? There's the other one. 2 CD singles of Alone Without You, which came out in 2004. It was the In Your Own Time album, which had 4 Minute Warning, which is, God, I love that song. I really, really love that album. That's one of the albums that soundtracked 2003. I think I said 2004 before, but it was 2003. That album really soundtracked 2003 for me. I saw Mark twice, I think, live that year, and it's just an era of these huge, like, heart-stirring choruses and tunes, and his voice and everything is so perfect. And I really want a solo album and tour from Mark very soon, but I don't think it's going to be happening soon because Take That are doing their 30th anniversary thing, which will be amazing. But I kind of want Mark solo more than Take That. I saw Take That last year. I really, really want to see Mark again. Anyway, Pet Shop Boys. I have one Pet Shop Boys single that I still own. I never really collected the Pet Shop Boys singles the way I did with my other favourite bands. Excuse me. Choking on wine. I never really collected the Pet Shop Boys singles the way I did with my other favourite bands. It was more their albums. They've always put out like compilations of their B-sides where you could get the bonus tracks, and they have had amazing B-sides actually. I don't know why I kept this one. This is Home and Dry, which is very, very far from my favourite Pet Shop Boys song. It's certainly not in my top 10, I don't think it's even in my top 50. But it's here. I think I probably kept it because this again is a DVD and it's got the video on it, but the video is rubbish. The video is film of mice in a tube tunnel. Why? So I don't know why this is the only Pet Shop Boys single I've kept, but I'm still keeping it because it's a Pet Shop Boys single. And finally, for CD singles, I have one bonus cassette single. That's exciting. But CD singles, I have Ride, Leave Them All Behind, and Twisterella. Leave Them All Behind was the song that made me a fan of Ride. And I love these CD singles. I love the artwork. I love that it's all sort of muted in black and white, and then you open up and it's bright pink. That's Leave Them All Behind, and Twisterella is not quite so garish, but it's bright green. But yeah, I really love these, and these are, again, this one is particularly special to me because it's a song that made me a fan. It's got a song called Chrome Waves on the B-side, which is on the Going Blank Again album, but in a different version. And this is the only place. I don't think this version of Chrome Waves, which is amazing, is on Spotify or any streaming or anything. So I'm really glad I kept this one and both of these. But yeah, bonus cassette single, because I just have one cassette single from my past collection. And I've kept in alphabetical order because it's Take That. It is Pray by Take That. Again, this is the song that made me a fan. Now, when I got into Take That, I did have a CD player and I could have bought this on CD, but I felt like with a boy band, cassette was the proper format because young teenagers those days didn't really have CD players as much. Probably some of them did, but like I certainly didn't have a CD player when I was a young teenager. I bought everything on cassette, so this felt like the proper format for a teeny bopper band. I did eventually buy everything on CD and then sold them. But yeah, this is the 1994 limited Australian tour souvenir edition, because they did like a promotional tour of Australia in 1994. That's when I became a fan, and this song was I don't know if it was a re-release for Australia, if it was only issued for the first time in Australia then, because I know it was a hit in the UK in '93. But yeah, that's where I came in. That's where I threw off the indie shackles and embraced the boy band, and I'm so glad I did. So yeah, that's my bonus cassette single in my CD single vid. So those are my cassette and CD singles. Let's have a chat about CD singles, about singles in general. Did you enjoy buying singles? Did you like the vinyl singles, CD singles, cassette singles? Have you still got your collection? Show me your collection. Go and make your own vids. I want to see them. And yes, and please do like, subscribe, comment, go and read my blog, scruffystorms.com, if the fancy takes you, and I will talk to you again in my next video. Bye.